What is up guys, it is Simba here and welcome back to the channel for another league racing video on F1 24, and today we're going to be going around the Belgian Grand Prix for round number 3. If you haven't seen the last race, which was in Australia, I'll leave a link in the top right hand corner, and make sure you get subscribed to the channel for more league racing content. I'm sorry that the video has taken 2 weeks to come out, big gap between the videos, and that's because Austria was so bad I couldn't make it into a video. For some reason, my VODs on Twitch were not saving at all, so I couldn't make that into a video even if I wanted to, and that race did not go very well. So we arrive at round 3 here in Spa with nil points, no points so far in WR. So the last race in Austria, I qualified 18th, and it looked like I felt like we had a decent chance to get a top 10 finish because the pace felt fine, but I got caught up in another collision, and that basically ended any chance of me getting any points. So yeah, coming into this, we need a result, and here is someone who has been looking very quick in the first couple of rounds, and that is Tech Brutal. He's moved to BRT, he's found some pace, he's found some confidence, and he shows that immediately by going straight to the front row with a 41.4. I know he wouldn't be too happy with that, considering his personal best was a 40.9, so he's looking very, very good so far, which is good to see because he was in the AEC pre-season videos. Meanwhile, for us, we jump into the top 6. Now, for this race, I wasn't feeling confident over qualifying. My race pace felt okay, but as you guys know, my qualifying is absolutely horrendous. So, to put ourselves in the top 6, and you can see by the standings there, we're literally just over a 10th off the top 3. So, the times are not looking as strong as I feared they would. But here's someone who's looking for pole position, that is ET8 Mustache. My VOD for this race didn't save either, so we're using the WR stream and some of the highlights I managed to save on the actual F1 game to make this video. So bear that in mind. Apologies. There will be a proper stream for Brazil this Friday, so stay tuned for that. As you can see, Mustache just misses the 1 minute 40 barrier. We're on our final lap. We've dropped down to P10, and an improvement will surely get us locked in into the top 10 places, as Tech Brutal couldn't quite manage to snatch pole position from Mustache. He does a 41.1. You see, we've done a 41.5, and somehow that's enough for P7 on the grid. So we've actually locked in a top 10 start for the first time since Monaco, what, 2 seasons ago. So yeah, it's been a minute. We've managed to get P7, but Predestinato does a lap time that is 1,000th quicker than us, and he snatches the front part of the 4th row. So we ended up P8. He's actually done the same lap time as us. I don't know how that works, because normally if you do the lap first, you should be able to keep the place. But the main thing is, for me, we're in the top 10, which is a rarity. And you know how bad my qualifying is. I go on and on about it. So it's nice to actually get in a personal best, which was enough for P8. So let's get into the race and see what we can do, as there's rain on the way. So here we go, time for the start of the race. I was thinking to start on the mediums, but since there's rain on the way, I made a last second call to go on the hards, and the lights are out, and we are underway for the 3rd round of WOR, and Mustache gets a very good start off the line, and is well clear going into the first corner of La Source. Everyone getting through cleanly. We go round the outside of Predestinato, and we find ourselves up into P7 already, so a very positive start in the first corner as we all swing through up Barouge and Radion. We've managed to gain a place, and we are right behind our good friend of Tier 10 Flo, who's also a former FGE driver. So we're right in the mixer already, as there's a lot of side-by-side action going on. Everyone making it through cleanly, and I believe I had to fend off Predestinato and FRT Harvey behind us, as there's a few medium runners here and there. I think most people went for the hards as a popular choice to try and get to the crossover point, as we are fending off Predestinato in the background. So you can't quite see me in this stream. It will be quite a recurring theme throughout, as there's a virtual safety car already, as Bunty has had a moment at the Jackie X corner. It's actually got a name now. No Name actually has a name. so we can't call it that anymore. It's the Jackie X corner, and yeah, virtual safety car, which I was able to slow things down, and we're back on the way. But Schumacher is on the mediums, and I've made my feelings very clear about him already in the first race in Australia. He goes for the inside and then the outside for the bus stop chicane, and we kind of just let him go. You know, it's lap 3 out of 22. You know, there's no point being aggressive. He's on the faster tyre, and the tyre advantage will swing back in our favour. But one thing that is not in our favour is straight line speed. I went quite high with the wings. I think it was 22.3. So quite a big wing gap, as you can get away with those on this year's game, as the top 3 are just swapping places. You can get away with big wing gaps on this game, but I think my front wing was a bit too high. As you can see, Spicer getting past Alpha Gully for P4. So these guys are really treading places already. You can see TF10 Flo looking to get himself into the action as well. He can't quite make anything work through Ravage and the Jackie X corner, so he has to stay in P6. And now Schumacher continuing to make progress on the medium tyres. He goes up the inside of Spicer. Spicer doesn't put up a fight, and he is up into P4. You can see we've dropped down to P9, and that's because FRT Harvey was also on the mediums, and he managed to get past Flo and myself, and he's up into P7. But at this point, we are starting to see a crossover between the two tires, the two tire compounds, as I struggle to get my words out, as the hards should be a bit quicker, as Harvey's had a bit of a moment out of the X corner. We go up the inside of Pouon, and we do take back 8th place, but in doing so, we managed to get our second warning for track limits on lap 6, and you know, Australia, we had a bit of an issue with track limits as well, so we've got to make sure we stay disciplined and make sure we do not get that dreaded 3rd warning, as we are now on the tightrope for the rest of the race. I think that, yeah, we just need to be disciplined with track limits, and the main thing is we are sticking with the rest of the hard runners. We can't really afford to lose too much time to Harvey. One thing I will say, that he was looking rapid on the straights, so he's definitely going for lower wings. You can see we make a massive error at the bus stop. I'm trying to slow down to let him go, so he uses DRS to catch up with everyone else, but he doesn't pass us. And at the time, I lost my head because I was just like, please just go through. I'm not trying to play DRS chicken. I just want to stay with the leaders. And unfortunately, we have lost DRS to the leaders. We've lost 2 seconds. You can see on the delta on the interval, we are now 2.6 seconds behind the top 8, well, the top 7, as Harvey just passes us anyway down the Kemmel straight. So that is basically just achieved nothing, and we're back down in P9. We don't have straight line speed, and we're not in the DRS of the cars in front. The only thing that we can really positively think about is that we've gapped NLR Daddlepad, who started quite a way down, but he's definitely going to be in DRS now, as we had that back out moment for no reason. You can see Harvey now, we've skipped to lap 13. Nothing much has happened, really. Daddlepad has managed to pass us as well, and he's keeping us in the train. Spicer also had made a mistake earlier on in the race, as the rain is now starting to fall down, and this is a crucial part of the race, because if you pick the wrong lap to pit, that's basically game over, as Tech Brutal makes a mess of the bus stop. He cuts the pit lane entry, which would give him a 5-second penalty. I think it did give him a 5-second penalty. But yeah, we've decided to follow everyone else in, except ET8 Mustache, who's decided to go for the extra lap. And I don't think that was the right call in the end. We're all switching over to intermediate tyres as Mustache continues to try and drag his multiplayer car around this track. And he goes wide at the exit of Radeon as well. So it's clearly not time for the dry tyres anymore. And meanwhile, with us, we're in P9, make that P8, because Spicer's had a moment down the Kemmel straight, and we just breezed past him. So we're up into the top 8 again, and now there's even more carnage going up in front, as Finn Bomb has made contact with Flo, going into the heart of Sector 3, and that's literally put us back into it now, because I think Flo just got damage from that. And as a result, that's really helped Tech Brutal up ahead as well, because he had a 3-second penalty, and meanwhile, Mustache finally makes it home into the pit lane. And yeah, Tech Brutal with a massive advantage, and everyone else behind him has bunched up. So if we stay disciplined, we continue to just keep it clean, and everyone else gets penalties, we could be in for some big points. So we just got to pick our moments carefully, because these guys are going to go at it for the rest of the race. You can see Daddlepad up into P4. He's had an unreal comeback as Alpha Golly goes round the outside, and there's a bit of contact. He's lost the car through Bogshamong. Somehow he doesn't find the wall, and he keeps on going. That was a moment and a half on my stream and my POV, because I thought someone was going to fly into the barrier as Daddlepad pulls off a beautiful switchback to move himself up into P2. He's having the race of his life at the moment. He started, I think, 18th on the grid. He's in the podium places, and it's really frustrating from my perspective because I was right behind him before the rain came down. So we've got some work to do in that regard. We've got to try and make up some places because, you know, if these guys keep fighting each other, we can definitely benefit. And, you know, that one extra position could be another 2 or 3 extra championship points, which would go a long way for us because, you know, I wasn't feeling too motivated to do this race as the first 2 races were an absolute nightmare. And I would have definitely written off the season if we didn't get points today. And we're going to try and make some progress up the inside of Alpha Gully. Going into Sector 2, we make a bit of contact. There was a bit of wall banging, but there's enough respect between us. And we are able to keep things facing the right way. But now going on to lap 20, 3 laps to go. You can see Schumacher and Mustache have caught up to us as they've got 1 lap fresher intermediate tyres, and that will definitely go a long way for them. As now at the end of lap 20, we're going to try and go up the inside of Flo. There's a bit more wheel banging, there's a bit of contact, but Flo gives us the room and the respect to give us space on the exit. And we're going to go side by side. You can see the stream just cuts away from us there, but now we get the move up the inside. Up into P6 we go in this Belgian Grand Prix with 2 laps to go. And at this moment, it looks like one course for a podium. The 3 cars in front of us have all got penalties. So we're fighting for a potential podium here in the 3rd round of WR. And those guys are still going at it. And unfortunately for me, my lack of straight line speed is terrible. And it comes back to bite me as the stream cuts off our POV. You can see Flo and Schumacher have just breezed past us on the Kemmel straight, and we've lost those 2 places. So we didn't really win much from that, unfortunately. It was good side-by-side action with Flo, who's continuing to fight on despite having wing damage. But yeah, every point counts, and you know, if more people get penalties, it could go to us. It could swing our way, but we need to make sure we're still in the range of these 3 guys who are still going at it. As Alpha Gully is looking for a move going into the bus stop chicane. This is for P2 on track. Epic Veil doesn't have a penalty, which is massive for him, so he might just guarantee himself P2. You can see Mustache is trying to pass us. We end up going off the circuit, so we've lost out badly here. And we go on to the final lap as Alpha Gully can't quite get past Epic Veil for P2. You can see Mustache, he's now trying to go after Flo for P7 on track. And I think this might lead up to P3, 4, 5 at the end of the race. As he passes Flo, he gets a right run out of the first corner. As meanwhile, Flo gets himself a 3-second penalty. So now we just need to keep it clean. And we could gain not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 places at the end of this Grand Prix. So we just have to do that, and we can score some big championship points. Schumacher's up into P6 as well. So it's all kicking off on this last lap. Everyone knows the importance of track position because it could decide where they finish, especially on this final lap. And I can say we were putting a lot of pressure on Flo. You can see he's just in the background, and we are going side by side with him on the road to a Rouge. No, not a Rouge, onto Pouon. And he decides to choose life and lets us through as we went up the inside and took 8th place. So appreciate that, Flo. If you're watching this, appreciate that, because we could have unnecessarily started battling for no reason, and we don't gain anything from it. So good stuff from Flo. As all this is going on, Tech Brutal has had absolutely no opposition in this race, and he's going to come through. And he got pole position and finished 2nd in Austria, and he's going to go off and get the victory in the Belgian Grand Prix. Tech Brutal is the race winner, and it's a question to see where everyone else finishes behind him as we all come through the final chicane for the final time in this race. Schumacher might have just passed Epic Vale for P5 on track, but where does everyone end up? And it looks like Vale gets the podium, Daniel Pad's fourth, and we get P5, but we miss out on P4 by 0.02 of a second, which is absolutely ridiculous. Very close margins in WR this season, and it's just proven there. Provisionally, we're 5th. I've seen that we might get promoted even further because I think Daddlepad or Vale might have got a penalty. So I don't know. So these are the provisional results. We do finish 5th, which is a massive, massive relief because, you know, Australia was very frustrating. Austria was an absolute disaster class. So it feels great to maximise a result and get some points on the board because we've been struggling at this for 2 seasons now. So it's about time we got the result after quite a bit of bad luck. So quite relieved with that. It might lead to more, which I might reveal in the next race, which is Brazil, which is this Friday at 7 PM UK time. So check out my Twitch for that. Make sure you get subscribed if you enjoyed this video. And yeah, there'll be more to come. So until then, take care. I'll see all of you in the next one.